Liv Morgan comes out and decides to cash in her money in the bank, and instead of hitting instead of hitting her finisher while Ronda was on the ropes, which I thought was perfect and would fit perfect, because all Ronda had to do was like, yeah, come on, I don't care, bring it on, while she's leaning on the ropes and get ready to sit up, and Liv jumps right into the ropes, hits her finisher, 1, 2, 3. They, WWE going WWE and just do too much, man. Wasn't Ronda's leg supposed to be hurt? Wasn't that the whole reason that Liv wanted to cash in? But her legs were sure strong enough to just hold Liv and walk around with her in the ankle lock. Like, little things, man. Pay attention to the little things. It didn't take away from it. She still got a great reaction, but the little things that even if she kicked out and then Liv sets her up for it and hits, and then she catches her, goes to a quick ankle lock, then we go to the kick, set it back up one more time. That's different. But the way it was set up, I thought it was a little muddled, but the reaction was still great.
Yes, I just would have preferred her to hit the finisher. It was
right there
and be done with it. It was right there. Like, why are we having this struggle of Ronda being super Ronda? Let me fight back, bat knee and all. Let me lock in this ankle. Like I said, Liv, please, God, don't tap, don't tap, don't tap. Please, God, grab the ropes. And Ronda kept pulling her away like, oh, God, get out of it. She did, thankfully. And then she did the roll up. I would prefer Oblivion as the finisher. It would have been more definitive. A win is a win. But WWE did a little bit too much trying to protect Ronda. You want to make a star, then you make a star, damn it. They did so to a point, but make it definitive. Make it decisive. Don't play around and say, oh, let her have this fight and struggle. Fuck that. Pin her. If she wants to go on break, let her go on break decisively. Damn.
I will say, when Ronda was leaning on the ropes after she won her match and Liv Morgan's music hit, her facial change, and when she said, shit, that was one of the greatest things I have ever seen out of Ronda Rousey. I thought that was spot on and felt so real. Like, God dang, dude, she coming right now. Even though it was Liv Morgan, the way her face turned, she was like, you could see her talking to her, like, yeah, my leg is messed up. I'm all right. I think I'm good. Just give me a minute. Music hit, and she turned and looked like, shit. Oh, that was chef's kiss.
That was actually pretty good. That was like an authentic reaction, like, oh, yeah, here we go. Great. This isn't gonna go well for me. But I'm gonna try though. But I will give Ronda credit for this. I gotta say, she was shady as hell when she locked in the sharpshooter and she hit the Shawn Michaels pose. Like, Ronda Rousey, if you come back and be a full blown heel, do more of that, because that was fucking hilarious.
I mean, this is what people were looking at when Roman Reigns was saying suffering succotash when he should have been the tribal chief this entire time. Like, that Ronda being this baby face is not going to work when she can do great things like that and just be posing on people. That's believable. I 100% believe Ronda could put these women in a hold and hold them there and pose on them. I 100% believe that and would believe that. I would believe if she folded these people up in pretzels and was just smacking them around and was like, and just Brock Lesnar the division. That's believable. That's what people are waiting for out of Ronda. And yeah, but when you run the risk of her getting too dominant, people cheering her, but that's when you throw the Liv Morgans at her. Liv Morgan is established as the ultimate underdog babyface right now in that division, because I think a lot of other babyfaces might have had the crowd turn on them a little bit, because she's had a lot of opportunities, but they've stayed with her. She's the ultimate babyface, so that's who you throw at when Ronda starts getting cheered and stuff. But man, she's gonna be a great heel whenever they just let her go and let her be Ronda, like they did at the end of her first run.
Yes, so if she comes back as a heel, hopefully she will. My only thing is, if you're a babyface, if you're going to be a babyface, sell it. Even though you don't believe it, sell to the very best of your ability. When she comes back as a heel, if she's motivated to come back as a bad guy, she's money. You hit the HBK pose on Bret Hart's 65th birthday. That is the ultimate
That's a
shade.
choice.
And I laughed. That was a choice. And she knew it. And I loved it. Like, Ronda, bring that back whenever you decide to come back from your break. If you're going on break, I don't know for sure, but bring that petty energy, because I lived.
She was bringing Sexy Boy back.
She sure did. And I loved it. Hit the pose on the man's birthday. His sworn enemy. Chef's kiss ×2. Beautiful. But here's a question, Scott, before we move to our main event. So Liv is the champion, and everybody has this doomsday scenario. Charlotte Flair's coming back. She'll lose it at SummerSlam. Dear God, I hope that doesn't happen.
Hey, you know what? I'll be that guy. That doesn't bother me. That does not bother me at all. As long as the plan is for Liv to get the win back at WrestleMania. If this is going to be the year of Liv Morgan, that doesn't bother me. I don't care. I don't mind Charlotte being this dominant shadow that whenever she shows up, you have no idea when that lightning is going to strike. Because when it does, she's just going to tear everything up. Like, the way you talk about Charlotte right now, like that's I think that's a good thing. Like, because you know that any Charlotte Flair match at any time, there's a real possibility she could win the title. I don't have a problem with it, and I think that has to be the SummerSlam match, because there's nobody who causes a bigger threat to Liv Morgan, and there's no match that would say more about what you're going to do with the division than that match. Because if Liv Morgan beats Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam, you are telling everyone we are 100% behind Liv Morgan, and this is your next top tier baby face behind Bianca Belair. If she loses to Charlotte Flair, then it's going to be all about the follow-up to that. It'll be all about the follow-up to that match, because then it could be two things. They could not have any faith in her, or they could be telling a story, a long-term story that they're going to fumble the ball and pick up at the 2 and somehow get it across the goal line. But I don't have a problem with Charlotte being the boogeyman of the women's division.
You know, I love Charlotte most of the time. And these are the moments I'm a little worried. I just don't know, because the booking can be shaky. The match would be great. And the good news is there's history dating back 3 years ago, because that was Liv's last match on Smackdown prior to the makeover. And we can play into that a bit. It'll be a great match. I truly believe so. And I do go with your theory. She can have that Bianca Belair moment of losing at SummerSlam, regaining all the momentum at WrestleMania, and she'll win the big one there. I can accept that. But Charlotte bulldozing her, I won't allow it. That's just... no. And then she'll lose it again. I just can't take Charlotte and these short ass reigns as champion. I just can't take it.
And part of me doesn't think that's going to happen, because this is the year that Bianca beats Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania anyway. Or at least that's what it should be. That's what should be happening with Charlotte Flair WrestleMania anyway. So I think Liv Morgan, if she does play Charlotte, I think she messes around and beats Charlotte at a SummerSlam if that's the match. But then I have to ask, I bring this question back to you. If it's not Charlotte, who does she wrestle? Who do you have Liv Morgan go against? Do you have her go against Ronda? It seems like Ronda's on her way out.
I know one person at home right now that would love to get the call real quick.
Yeah, well, if Sasha gets the call, you got to give Sasha the belt.
Absolutely. That is how you would tell that story. Perfectly.
Well, I see it's the same, and I agree with that too. It's the same thing with Charlotte though. That's part of I think, like, because that's the same. You can tell the same story, but even if you don't, like, I don't think either of those two should be losing to Liv Morgan unless you're really like, I don't know, man. I don't, even now I'm thinking about it, I don't think you can put Liv over Charlotte. I don't think you can do that at SummerSlam off of a 1 month build. I think you give the belt back to Charlotte and Liv gets it back at WrestleMania. But then that screws up, because Bianca should be putting the final notch in her 4 Horsemen bingo card this year at WrestleMania. Like, that should be the plan. So I don't know, man. I don't know what they do, but I hope there's big things for Liv, because I'm on board with the train now.
Yes, call Sasha immediately. That'll help.
Bailey's on her way back too.
Yes, she would be great too. So if we can get Sasha on the horn, she's under contract still. Something's up because you don't say something and then nothing happens. So something's up there. Bring Bailey back too, and then we got something. The rest of that division, choices right now. I don't trust it. So we need to live with some good opponents. Charlotte, Sasha, Bailey, Ronda when she comes back. I'm good. Bring some people from NXT. Pay Io Shirai, damn it. Do that. But we'll see as we head closer to the end of her contract in WWE later this month.